All right, so I'm outside here with Panda Paws, and I've got a couple of projects worked out over the last few weeks. The first one, honestly, has absolutely nothing to do with boats, but if you own a boat, you probably deal with the same thing I do, which is that you have other projects that are going on. And this is our home here in Maryland. This deck, I have had a 3-year-long project to replace all of the deck boards on that has been lingering and ongoing. I work on it when I can. It takes a little bit of time, but we finally gotten to the point. I think most all of the major parts are done. We're up to the railings now and some trim and some work on that. And that has meant that as the deck boards get used up, more space becomes available. I've got this little 14-foot John boat that's been a project of mine for a couple months now. I bought it last year and proceeded to buy the rest of the pieces, parts as I found them on Craigslist, on Facebook Marketplace. But I was finally able to make a couple of stands for it so that I could get it up off the ground, get it rolled over. It's got a center console fiberglass unit that I'm going to put in there. Got to trim that up a little bit, and the big thing was getting a cover over it. I got close, but not quite close enough with that one, and that's just to prevent the water from getting in there, letting it be a mosquito breeding ground. But I was happy because I had wood stored over here, just a lot of material that was taking up space, and it looks a lot less cluttered. So, but Panda Paws is still here. I have not gotten around to taking the mast down after I gave it a little trial run a few weeks back. So the weather unit's still up there, everything's still up there. I've got running rigging to get replaced here, and my intent is once I take that down, I got to do a little bit of structural support for the mast carrier arch there that I wanted to build out before I took it on the road. Last weekend, though, I did get into one fun project that I'd wanted to for a while, and this was born out of last summer's cruising experience up at Lake Cadorus, and the challenge of just managing, the anchoring setup on a small little trailerable sailboat. I'm not gonna lie, this is complete overkill and unnecessary, but I had a lot of it laying around. I just want to make use of it. So I've got a set of deck hardware here that had been in boxes, collected over time over many different boats, and I finally got around last weekend to drilling the holes, getting the sealant put in, getting the butyl tape put down, getting everything kind of measured and laid out, and finally put into place. And so I'm going to walk you through what I've got for, I'm going to call it a cruising option for Panda Paws. Not required, not the full-time thing, but I wanted to at least make some convenience out of this one. So I got a couple pieces here, but I'm going to start actually on the ground here. So on Craigslist, I was able to source, I think that's close to 120 feet of 1/4 inch chain. It was advertised as stainless steel. It is not stainless steel. It is straight carbon. And so I've got a plan to give it a little pickle, get some galvanizing on there. My thought is, hey, if I can use it as long as I can, that's absolutely great. I also have a pair of combined chain and rope rods that I can use for anchoring, along with another 300 feet of 1/2 inch line and another, I think it's 75 feet of an anchor line. So I got a lot of line on board. I also have a small 7-pound Fortress aluminum anchor that I keep back in one of the cockpit wells back there. That's kind of the emergency anchor if I got to throw it out, and I had nothing else available. I purchased this 14-pound, about 7 kilogram stainless steel Delta style anchor a few years ago, though. And when I want to, I can carry that back in the cockpit. Got it on eBay, if I remember correctly. It really wasn't that expensive. If I remember this right, it was really like the next size up that became the expensive version. And on here, I've got a shackle in place that I can put a trip line on it if I need to. It's got a swivel, and then right now I've just got a light carabiner here to keep it attached, because this is the set of deck hardware that I got put in over the weekend. So up here on the left side and holding the anchor in place is an anchor lock. and I can pull this pin, release everything there, but in the meantime, that anchor lock will keep the anchor onto the anchor roller that I installed last year. I do need to get a stainless steel loop to go over this for a little bit of additional safety, so the chain doesn't jump off the roller there, but everything trues up and aligns. The next area back is a chain stop, and right now it is in the free fall position, meaning that if there was chain in here, it would be able to roll freely and descend, but once it was all descended, you can lock it backwards like that. The chain can sit in this little groove here, and then it takes the load on the chain. The recommendation is always that you also have a piece of nylon cord. I've got a dock line that's got a snubber, rubber snubber looped into it with a hook, so I can put a hook on the chain, lead that line back up here onto the deck, and the dock line and the shock absorber then take any kind of jolts if I'm anchored on just chain. Speaking of which, I got a bollard here for using said nylon line or my dock lines or anything like that, that I can slip it over the horns here. It bolts underneath and is in really, really good shape there. So I've got, kind of a rope option there, and something that I will eventually get back around to is putting not chocks, but fair leads up here, so that when I have a dock line, it can come up, go around, and it's not just riding on top of the coaming like that. But I'll tell you, the big purchase, and again, let's just be clear, this is overkill for a small trailerable sailboat, is the Lewmar V700 combined chain and rope rode windlass. So I got this used down in Florida, and it was I'm going to call it again kind of a special treat, just like the Ruddercraft Rudder was, just like the new tandem axle trailer was, or new to me at least trailer was. So this was something that I had the idea several years back to look at windlass options for the boat. And the idea being I single hand a lot. Would it be possible to put the controls back in the cockpit, be able to just manage things from back there, and deal with anchoring that way. And so if you remember from some of my earlier videos, I might have had this out there. I had the Minn Kota fishing style automatic windlass. Now that model has like a 1/4 inch rode, just a short piece of stainless steel chain. It mounted up here, but it took up most of the bow section. Everything stands up, motor and everything is above deck. So a perfectly fine option, but not the cleanest of options. And you can only use that road. You can't use other roads with it. So I'd had it in my head, hey, if I could find a small, very, very, very small anchor windlass, that could be a really good deal. So underneath here, I've got a bulkhead that crosses over. This area up here is the chain locker. On that bulkhead, I had the wiring already led back for an anchor windlass with a circuit breaker and everything. It was just a matter of getting the unit. And so I got that over the winter, but I finally got around over the weekend to cutting the holes, get everything mounted in. You can see there's a ton of butyl tape around it right now. That's all got to get cleaned up. I was just trying to get fitted in so that it would be fine for rain and stuff. But you can see that it leads up here through that that chain lock, loops around 180 degrees, and then falls down into the chain locker there. And again, this particular model, it can take straight 1/4 inch chain, or it can take a combined rode and chain that I've got a couple sets of. So it's not wired up yet. I haven't gotten to try it in its different modes. Still got a decent amount of work to do, but the unit came with the relays, the switches, kind of everything. So I should have all the parts, and it's just a matter of getting this whole thing put together. So so again, let's not kid ourselves, right? way too much for a trailerable sailboat, but at the same time, I do appreciate the fact that for this trailerable sailboat, you know, I can sit back in the cockpit and I can anchor automatically on chain, or you know, depending on the cruising situation, you know, the road and chain option is just as good. So I'm excited to get to check this out and plan out some cruises maybe later on in the fall. As I mentioned, it's Maryland, so yeah, not the most fun time to be out there in the water. You know, it's in the 90s. Fall tends to be my preferred sailing season. Got a couple more project videos that I'll try to get put up by the time that happens. I spent some time this weekend working on the tandem trailer. Got it taken down to some clean metal, cleaned up a little bit. I got galvanizing on the axles, just, you know, some good work there, some safety chains on it. I do have to figure out what I'm going to do about the bunk boards for the tandem axle trailer, and then plan out the big switch in between the two, as well as if I'm going to change out the wheels and tires this year, or if I'm going to wait to do that at a different time. So anyways, hey, hope these videos give you folks some great ideas too. You know, like if you're bored and you've got an anchor windlass, why not put it on your trailable sailboat? Hope everyone's doing great. Have a wonderful summer, and we'll talk to you later. Thanks for watching Thorium Sailing and our sailing vessel Panda Paws.